Okay, well, welcome to our Pitt Business Session. My name is Tawanda Taylor, and I'm the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Recruitment here in the Office of Admissions and Financial Aid. We are excited that you have joined us this afternoon. We have some wonderful guests for you to talk to and pose your questions. But as we do that, we're actually going to wait until we get some questions loaded. So as you're thinking about your questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves. So we'll start with Ms. Cherok from Admissions.
And thanks, Tawanda. Hi, everybody. My name's Lisa Cherok. I'm Director of Admissions for the College of Business Administration. You've heard a lot from me. My team is involved with providing information about our program on the school side to prospective families, and whether that comes through admissions programming or individual conversations and communications. Other things that we do that you may not know, we do work with the posting of AP credit, IB credit, dual enrollment credit, and we work with internal transfers to our program. So I'm really happy to be here today.
Okay. And Liz Adams from Admissions, or excuse me, Advising.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liz Adams. I am Director of Advising in the College of Business Administration. I am a very proud graduate of the University of Pittsburgh, and I very much consider Pitt to be my school, and now it will be your school too. I lead a team of 11, and we work very closely with our business students to help them accomplish all the things that they want to do as undergrads, whether that's academic, their career development, also their international development. So I look forward to talking with everyone this afternoon. Thanks for having me here, Tawanda.
Okay, great. Thank you, Liz. Now, Chris.
Thanks, Tawanda. Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Meaner. I'm the Director of Career Development for Pitt Business. Very excited to spend some time with you this afternoon. My team is an awesome team of 6 really engaged staff members who are here to work solely with Pitt Business students to help them find what their first destination is going to be once they graduate. We have somebody who focuses solely on internship development and helping students find internships. We have a career advisor who works on the job search strategies. We have somebody who works with our corporate partners and helps match corporate partners with students. We have tons of co-curricular programs that we offer students throughout the semester. And we also have somebody who advises our Pitt Business student organizations. That's 26 student organizations that you can get involved with that helps you bring what you're learning inside the class to real life action inside of a student organization. So that's me and that's my team, and I'm excited to talk to you throughout the afternoon. Thanks, Tawanda.
Great. Sure, thank you, Chris. And finally, last but not least, our student, Sarah. You can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sarah Brazo. I am a senior, well, soon to be alum in about 2 weeks now, but I'm majoring in business information systems, supply chain management, and marketing. And I'm also pursuing a certificate in business analytics. Post-graduation, I will be pursuing a job in Washington, D.C. with Deloitte Consulting as a business technology analyst. And I would love to hear any questions you have about my experience at Pitt. I was able to study abroad twice, once in Vietnam and once in Spain. And I've had 3 internships that I could speak to as well that I've gotten help from the career department with as well.
Great, that is exciting. Thank you very much, Sarah. So we already have some questions. One of those questions talks about what happens next. So for you students who have been admitted to the College of Business Administration, I'm sure you probably want to know what happens during orientation and when do they meet their advisors. So I'm going to pose that question to Liz.
Thanks, Tawanda. Well, we've made it to about mid-April, so that's good. I'm glad we've made it that far. At the end of the month, we hit our deposit deadlines. We're hoping that students deposit if they're coming to join us by May 1. Shortly after that, the advising team begins to reach out and contact incoming freshmen. The date I have in mind is May 18th. So we reach out, we send all of our new students information about how to get organized for the fall semester and to begin to set up a fall schedule. After that, we're also going to schedule virtual meetings with every incoming student. So we'll be communicating in a number of different ways with the freshman class. Email, virtually, we may do some phone calls as well, if that works better for some students. And our goal will really be have every incoming student completely scheduled, appropriate classes, no later than the end of July. And what I can tell students and their families is please do not worry. There has been so much to worry about lately. Please do not worry about getting your fall classes or think that all of your classes will be at 8 a.m. They won't, okay? My team and I, we've done this before. Admittedly, this year is somewhat different, but what we want to do is put together a great fall schedule for every single incoming business freshman that is suited to that student. So there is no one size fits all schedule. We'll work to personalize and customize your fall schedules for each of you. Thanks, Tawanda.
Okay, great. Thank you, Liz. So we do have some questions. I do also want to talk a little bit about some housekeeping. Thank you for posing your questions via the YouTube live chat. We will take those questions. But just in case we can't get to all questions, you may email your question to pitt.admissions@pitt.edu. And also for those of you who registered for this session, you may also text your question. So we want to make sure we get all of your questions answered. Now, speaking of freshmen in activities, one of the features for the Pitt Business School is the living learning community. So I'm going to pose this question to both Liz and Sarah. If you can talk about if students are in the living learning community, what are some things do they expect to do while they're taking part of that community?
Sarah, why don't you go first?
Sure. So I was able to live in Bruce Hall my freshman year with a ton of other business students. And I actually lived in a suite of 6 girls. So I had a roommate and then there were 2 other sets of roommates within my suite. And I loved my experience there. So one of my favorite aspects of Bruce Hall is the short walk to Senate. So I could get to Senate Square in about, I think it was like 2 minutes and 37 seconds if I timed the elevator right and jogged up the steps in Senate. And so it was really great that it was in such a central location. You're still around all of the other freshmen, so it doesn't take away from your freshman experience joining a living and learning community. It solely adds. So because you're in Bruce Hall for specifically freshmen, you get to have a classroom actually in the dorm. So that was everybody's favorite. I just remember we would walk down, and for me, it was 1 flight of steps, and you would walk down into this classroom for your class, and everyone would have slippers on and sweatpants, and my professor would just say, well, good morning, everybody, because he knew everyone had just taken a nap right before the class. And that was a really unique opportunity to be able to study within your dorm as well and not actually have to leave your building, but have classrooms where at night you could turn them into study spots. And it was really great because if you ever had a homework question or you had a big exam and you wanted to group study together, there were rooms in the classrooms, there were suites, and you always had a suite mate or a floor mate who you could either walk to class with or study with as well. And they also held a lot of really cool events. So they hold like Shark Tank style events where you can pitch an idea. They hold study abroad sessions inside the building, actually in the classrooms as well, where you can travel around, and it's typically framed like a passport adventure where you can see the different programs they have. So they do a really awesome job, and it really helped me to forge bonds with the other business students really early on. And then some of them I've been in projects and classes with all 4 years. So that's been a really awesome experience for me.
Okay. And Liz, did you want to add to that as well?
Yeah, I'd like to say just a couple things. Number one, I do love Bruce Hall. I was with the associate dean when Bruce Hall was offered to us. And the number one rule in real estate is always location, location, location. I agree with Sarah. It has a lovely location. That said, I want to assure students that if you live in Bruce Hall, I think you can have an excellent freshman year, but even if you're not in Bruce Hall, I still think you can have an excellent freshman year. We have many, many residence halls on campus, and frankly, they each have their own charms. Bruce I like in part too because it's an older building and I think it has a lot of character, but that's what I like. Some people prefer a more modern building. So just a couple thoughts on Bruce. Now, we speak of Bruce like it's a living thing, Bruce Hall, as though it's a person, but Bruce is our living learning community. And when you're filling out your housing application, you will be asked, are you interested in living in a living learning community? So you would want to say yes if you're interested in Bruce. And there is then a separate living learning application that you'll need to fill out as well. So 2 things to keep in mind. Bruce Hall is a building, not a person. And it is part of the living learning communities at the University of Pittsburgh. It's open only to business freshmen though.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, I also wanted to switch this to the career side because many times freshmen want to know, Chris, what are some things that I could start doing my freshman year? Is it too early to begin my career planning? And what would you say to that?
Absolutely. I think that one of the best aspects of being a Pitt business student is that we hit you before classes even start with a career plan. We talked about the Bruce LLC just a minute ago. One of my favorite events that I've gotten to participate in so far is what we call Bruce Bash. This is where all of the students who live in Bruce come together for a picnic during orientation, and you get to meet all of our corporate partners. We have 22 corporate partners who we work very closely with, who recruit our students. And this is kind of your first introduction to them. So you meet them during Bruce Bash. The next day, early in the morning, we do site visits. We take you by floor to a particular corporate partner, and you get to do your very first site business. You put your suit on and you go and you talk to recruiters and you start learning about what it means to start the career path. So when you say, is it too early for freshmen? I say, it's almost too late. We want you to start before you even go into classes. So we hit you really, really quickly during orientation. And then we work very hard to make sure that there are constantly recruiters recruiting inside of our building, Senate Square. Pretty much every day during the fall term, we have recruiters who are waiting just to talk to you. You know, it's really nerve-wracking as a first-year student to get the nerve up to talk to them, but we will prepare you for that. And the place where that happens is this class called Business 10. Business 10 is taught by your academic advisor. And they go through a whole career plan with you, from the development of a resume to how to network to how to go up to those tables and talk to recruiters. Last thing that I'll mention about that, because there is a ton that happens in the fall for first year students around the career space, we urge everybody to not only just join a student organization, but take on a leadership role. They're always looking for students to step up, step in, and you know, take on some of those roles. And then lastly is the career conference. We do one of the largest career fairs in Pittsburgh in the fall. We have over 90 companies that go to the David L. Lawrence Convention Center and talk to all of our Pitt business students. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can get engaged with your career development. And Sarah, did you take any of those? Were you able to do any of those things when you were a freshman in Bruce?
Yes, I definitely was. So I actually did Discover U Day with my floor, and we went downtown. So got on the Port Authority bus for the first time with my RA, and we all put on our business casual outfits. So like Chris said, this was before we even had classes, and we got to go downtown and talk with executives at a company about what they do and sort of tips for success, because they knew we were freshmen coming in. And so that was a really cool way to get your foot in the door. And that was, I remember a couple of us stayed after and we went up to them and we tried to give them an elevator pitch and get their business cards, which of course they were nice enough to give us. But then you have Biz 10, which is a really great class. That's actually one of the classes, or the class that I had in Bruce Hall. And that's where they teach you how to do a resume. They go over Excel tips. They work on your elevator pitch, and you learn a lot of useful, you develop your LinkedIn and things like that, which will help you network. And then again, to touch on what Chris was saying, it's never too early, and the Career Center always is open for drop-ins, for resume reviews. And even if you think, because I even remember coming in being even a little nervous to talk to seniors, but they have something called PDCs, or professional development consultants, which were a really great resource I really relied on when I was a freshman, because it was the junior and senior students who I felt more comfortable talking with and seeing peer to peer, and they are trained in how to review your resume, help you prepare for an interview. And so I think that's a really great resource for freshmen if you're still a little nervous to maybe fully go and see a career development advisor, to be able to work with a student and work with them and see how you can improve or what you can do.
Great, thank you both. So I do want to shift. You both gave some very descriptive items with regard to the Business 10 class, which is the primary business class as a first semester student. For Liz and Sarah, are there other courses, business courses, that students can take as early as freshman year?
Hi, Tawanda. I'll answer first. Yes, in some there are. We really work with our incoming freshmen to help them determine what they'd like to do in terms of their career path. And we want the academic piece to line up with that. So first semester, typically we have students looking at a course called Managing in Complex Environments. That is the Pitt version of Intro to Business. And it really looks at companies as complex entities where all these functions happen together. So we're not looking at marketing exclusive from, say, finance. We're looking at it all together. Shortly thereafter, really once we're into second semester freshman year, we're really helping students to get courses that help them to determine what they want to major in. So as early as this summer, I'm curious to hear from my freshmen what your major interests are. If you're interested in, for example, marketing, we're going to try to get you into marketing probably second semester freshman year, or maybe fall of sophomore year. That's true of finance as well. Now with finance, I want you to take financial accounting before you take Intro to Finance, but this is where the whole idea of customization comes in. I want to know what my students want to do or think they want to do early. And that gets them into the coursework, and it allows them to either confirm their suspicion, oh, I thought I wanted marketing, yes, I do, or to say, no, this perhaps I want to go a different direction. Thanks, Tawanda.
And Sarah, did you want to add to that? What were some, well, actually it's a two-part, because I'm looking at some of the questions that came in. If you can talk about some of the, at least one of your business classes that you remember from freshman year, and a more specific question, how did you land on the business information systems major?
Sure. So specifically freshman year, I think managing in complex environments was probably the most helpful class I took. Like Liz says, it gives you a really great foundation to all the majors: operations, how supply chains begin to work, marketing, how accounting fits into that perspective, and then finance as well. And a lot of the sort of intro to business laws like Sarbanes-Oxley and things like that, and how they all can fit together. And I was one of those students that came up to Liz right away at my summer orientation and said, Liz, I'm a marketing major and I know it. And so Liz was more than happy to help work with me to get me into intro to marketing freshman year. And I think also one thing that Liz, I really, really appreciated that she did was she was like, Sarah, I know you really love marketing, but don't shut out all that Pitt Business has to offer. And that was a perspective I was really grateful for, because as you all can see on the website, if you just go to cba.pitt.edu, you can see how many majors we offer. And actually at Pitt, and one of the reasons I love Pitt Business is they make it so easy to double major or even triple major. We have plenty of minors and certificates you can get. So don't close yourself off, even if you think like me, you know what you're doing, because I came in marketing and I wanted to minor in Spanish, and I'm leaving with BIS, supply chain marketing, and analytics. So because of Liz helping me keep my mind open and my schedule open to all the introductory classes, I was able to take a lot of really cool classes. I took advanced analytics with Andy Hanna, which really opened my eyes to how analytics work and how you can use data to drive your decision-making processes. And that was really the path that set me on my BIS path, and just being able to take project management and courses that are applicable to all business majors and all, I think, even realms of life have been really unique and awesome that I've found a benefit from.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. So this question is actually for Lisa. If you have students who want to take maybe a course over the summer at a community college, and they've, just like Sarah, they've identified some areas like marketing or business information systems. However, they want to take some of their general education requirements over the summer. How could they do that?
Thanks, Tawanda, very much. Well, I would like to say and offer our services. My office is the one that will help post credit for you if you'd like to take some college credit. Credit you may have already done, but if you're thinking about doing something this summer, we are eager to work with you individually. My general recommendation would be to look for courses that are going to meet general education requirements. Generally, those liberal arts type courses are going to come in and they're going to work to meet different requirements for you that you need for graduation. And we can certainly help you make good choices. Business courses, I think, are a little bit less helpful to take over the summer. We'll transfer them generally, but we're typically only giving elective credit for any business courses that you take. But again, if you're doing something, whether it's English composition or history or philosophy or anything along the liberal arts vein of things, they can really come in and meet particular requirements, which gives you room to do even more with your program here than you might have initially had time for. So please use my office. We're happy to help you make those choices individually, and your academic advisor also will be really helpful on that front. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. So another question is about if you wanted to pursue more than one major within the business school, because you also offer different certificate options. I'd like if Sarah, if you could address that. And then the follow-up is, what if you wanted to major in Spanish and a business major, an arts and sciences major along with a business program? If Liz could address that. So we'll start with Sarah and then we'll go to Liz.
Yes, so it is definitely more than possible to do that. And actually, in the class that Liz was talking about, that sort of intro to business class we have called MCE, or Managing in Complex Environments, the professor really, he tells everybody in class, you have come to college to learn. And so I would encourage you not to close yourself off to just one major, to broaden your perspective, and that will help you in life as you continue to go on. And so I remember after that class, everyone was like, oh, I guess I should double major, and just everyone going to the advising office and talking to them about maybe what they're interested in. And I've seen people do a lot of really cool combinations. So for instance, I can't speak to majoring in Spanish, I know Liz will, but you can do a global management major, and that would pair really well with a language, another like dual major in a language, or even a minor if that was something you wanted to pursue. But it is definitely more than possible to do that. And I think that it even enhances your study because, for instance, I've been able to, there are classes like IT systems architecture and IT systems and supply chains. And so if you're a BIS major and you're also a supply chain major, you understand everything from the supply chain side, but getting to understand and merge your IS side with your supply chain side and see the intersection of that has been where I found some of my most valuable learning opportunities within CBA. And so I think that's definitely an opportunity that everybody should at least explore if they have time to do. And then I know Liz could probably comment on Spanish more.
Thank you, Sarah. So what Sarah was really talking about, business students will often combine 2 business majors, or as you did, even 3 business majors. And I think that's cool because business students begin to see that business is holistic. It's not neatly partitioned out into functional areas, but rather these areas all work together. So of course, like managing global supply chains counts in both the marketing major and in the supply chain management major. Now, there are students who want to do what we call a double degree. And that's where you earn the Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from the College of Business Administration, but you also earn either a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science from the Dietrich School. These are my students who truly want to major in something in the arts and sciences. And it could be Spanish, to use Tawanda's example. It could be economics. There are certainly a lot of business students who find they really do like economics, that supply and demand explains a lot to them, and they want to have that entire in-depth arts and science major along with their business degree. Now, for these double degree people who will ultimately get a degree from the business school and a degree from Dietrich, they are pursuing a program of study that is more credits. That double degree, where you get the 2 degrees, is 150 total credits. That's 30 more than you would do for a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. So people then wonder, obviously, well, how do you earn those extra 30? Number one, if you're bringing in advanced standing credit, that can help you move to 150 quicker. So any AP exams, things like that, dual enrollments, great. Use your summers wisely. Lisa's already made the point about taking general education requirements in the summer. That's important to keep in mind too. Planning. My advising team, we are all about planning. None of this happens magically. Sarah and I both have emails where we were going back and forth, trying to figure out how would we fit all of this in. And that planning is so essential. So whether you want to do 1 or 2 or 3 business majors, or maybe a business major along with a business certificate, or perhaps something in the business school and a degree from arts and sciences, it's all going to come down to planning. And that's where your advisors will really work closely with you and really help put those plans together.
Great, Liz, thank you. And of course, the takeaway from that is planning. So I'm going to send my next question to you, Chris, with regard to planning. If you have a first-year student who says, hey, I want to get an internship, what do I do? What are my next steps? How would you assist them with this planning, Chris?
Sure. I would say that first and foremost, our strategy is get internships as soon as possible. So my first step of action would be set up a meeting with our office, meet with our internship advisor or meet with our career advisor. As Sarah already mentioned, we have what are called professional development consultants. These are senior level students who have had 2 or 3 internships prior to their senior year. So they were in your seat and they can help you navigate the world of the job search, the internet or the internship search and career development. We also have what are called executives in residence. These are professionals who have day jobs in large corporations who spend 1 day a week with us and advise students. We have an executive in residence in every one of our majors. So as you start thinking with your academic advisor what you want that 3 or 4 year academic plan to be, you have to start thinking about how internship fits into that. And you set up an appointment, and most likely what we'll do is we'll start talking to you about networking. Who out there can help you? Who out there do you need to talk to who can help you get that first year internship? We'll start talking to you about how you build your networking list. who at home can help you, introduce you to people and businesses in your hometown area. We will introduce you to a program called Mentor Match. Mentor Match is our virtual platform that will match you with one of our 500 alumni throughout the world who want to help our students. So we'll start introducing you to all these tools that will help you to start thinking through what that career plan is going to look like. Now, the interesting thing for a first-year student is that it could potentially change. Sarah came in, she thought she was going to be a marketing major. She ended up as a BIS supply chain with another major in analytics certificate. So the idea that we would start thinking about as a first-year student is, okay, marketing is where you want to be. You took this class, you kind of like it. Let's introduce you to some people in the marketing field to see if this is the actual direction that you want to go in. Great, it is. So we'll start introducing you to more people to help you navigate and find that sweet spot for you as a first year, sophomore, junior, senior. We have tons of internships on campus. We work, for example, with our marketing department, and we have marketing internships for our younger students so that they can get a lot of really great experience leading up to some of the bigger internship experiences your junior and senior year. We have what are called micro internships, which are project-based internships. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can get that experience. But the first step is always set up an appointment with the office, and let's start thinking about how the internship and career plan lines up with your academic plan, your international plan, so that when you graduate in 4 years, you get all those experiences. We're really good at this, Tawanda. We have a 95% placement rate for first destination outside of graduation. 98% of our students have at least one internship by the time they graduate. So we will help you through that because we want you to get those experiences so that you can get to where you want to be. Last little thing that I'll throw out there, Tawanda, is that it's not a secret that we're rated one of the best we're one of the best business schools in the country to get students the jobs that they want. We're not just putting students out in jobs. They're telling us what they want, and we go out and we help them find those jobs so that they are happy once they graduate.
Okay, Chris, first of all, that is fantastic. 98%, those are some great stats. Now, my question is, can you give us some examples about some of the jobs? Because you said that these are jobs that students want. And the other question is, do you think it's an advantage that they're in Pittsburgh, that they get to go to internships right in the city?
Absolutely. So Tawanda, we work with 22 corporate partners who are mostly in this area. We have corporate partners that represent every one of our majors. So, we work with the Big Four, PwC, KPMG, EY, Deloitte. We work with the large health facilities in the city, UPMC, Highmark, Allegheny Health Network. We work with large retail businesses such as Dick's Sporting Goods, Giant Eagle. We work with one of the coolest things about all the companies I just named is that they're not just local, they're not just regional, they're not just national, they're international organizations. So we really have the opportunity to, if a student comes in and says they want to work in New York City, we have all kinds of resources to get them to New York City. So yeah, Tawanda, we have any type of corporate partner that you can think of, we have somebody that represents that field. There's all kinds of different ways that we can get you where you want to be. And I know that Sarah, I'm not going to throw her on the spot, but Sarah has a really great job post-graduation that I know that she worked with through our office. So I don't know, Sarah, do you want to tell them what you're going to be?
Sure, yes. So I will be in DC, but actually my office is just across the Potomac in Roslyn, which is in Arlington. And I will be working with actually one of our corporate partners, Deloitte, and I will be doing technology consulting for them. So it's sort of a more functional role where you work in between the technological side as well as the business side, migrating systems and things like that. So I'll be working in their government and public sector practice, which is really exciting. And I would definitely speak to Chris. One thing I just wanted to say was to the students who are talking about internships, I also feel like internships are just as important as your in-class education because you learn a lot more skills. And I also was able to figure out, okay, maybe I don't love every aspect of marketing as much as I thought. And so I think that finding out what you don't want to do is just as important as finding out what you do want to do. And a lot of that can happen through internships, or even like Chris mentioned, talking to mentors through the Mentoring Match Network, or alumni or recruiters that are in Senate Square. So those resources I've definitely used multiple times, and they've been very, very helpful.
Great. We actually just got a question, and the question is with regard to internships. If you're first or even second year student, do the internships have to be in Pittsburgh? What if you're not from the area? Chris and Sarah, of course, you both could talk to that. What if a student wants to be outside of the Pittsburgh area?
So Tawanda, that's a great question. And we will help a student get those internships wherever they want them, right? So I think I saw in the chat that this particular student was from the Philadelphia area. So what we would do with this student is, once they set up an appointment with us, we would introduce them to our Pitt network in the Philadelphia area. And we would introduce them to people who were in jobs that are similar to what they're interested in terms of their career field. And we would start helping them to navigate and network with those people so that they end up in the Philadelphia area, in the DC area, in the New York area. You know, let's say they want to go to California. We have an executive in residence who just left Microsoft on the West Coast, and he has tons of connections in the San Francisco Bay Area. So we would start introducing students to those networks in those areas. First and second year internships, I would say, are more likely to be at home, where you have a strong connection, a strong network of people that you already know. Not to say that you can't get an internship in Pittsburgh. We have first year students who have tons of internships in Pittsburgh. But what I see more than anything is students going home and experiencing that internship. We also have on-campus internships through the university. That's when I was talking about like our marketing department. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can make that work. We're living in a virtual world right now also. So one of the things that I'm seeing pop up everywhere are virtual internships. So that's just going to open up the world to us. So I'm really excited to see where that takes us. Sarah, did you want to add anything onto that?
Yes, so I actually didn't mention it, but I'm from Doylestown, which is in Bucks County, which is about an hour north of Philadelphia. And I, just like Chris said, had my first internship, well, first and second internship in East Norriton, which is right near like Plymouth Meeting. And it was a really great opportunity. I actually got the job through somebody that I knew at church. I was an usher with him. And so I just kept talking about how much I love business and really wanted to experience an internship and what I wanted to do within business. And so he was able to put me in touch with his HR department at his company, and through interviewing and speaking with them and getting my first resume together, which when I got to Pitt, I realized was not really a great first resume, but again, Pitt will help you get there. And again, the mentoring match, I know I had a friend who found a mentor through the mentoring match, and it was where she was from at home. And the mentor who was her mentor actually ended up giving her an internship position at her company just through speaking with her and understanding what she wanted to do. She was like, actually, I think that you would be a great intern at my company. And so her mentor became her coworker, which was a really cool, unique opportunity to see and experience and be excited for her about. But yeah, so there are definitely ways that you can get internships at home, wherever that may be. And the Pitt Network will definitely help you with that.
Great, thank you both. So we also got some questions about Pitt honors. One specific question is for a student who was admitted to Pitt honors, but is also interested in the Pitt business honors option. Liz, can you talk about that? If you can describe the advantages of being a part of the Pitt business honors program.
Sure, happy to talk about that, Tawanda. Several years ago, we realized that business students want to do honors coursework in business. Now, that is why we created the Pitt Business Honors track. If you follow that track, you take 3 one-credit honors seminars that are tied to the business core requirements. So for example, we've talked about marketing. There is a 1-credit honors component that can be tied to marketing. Same with finance. Same with a course called organizational behavior. So that's the first part of the Pitt Business Honors Program. A total of three 1-credit honors seminars tied to business core requirements. We then have business classes that are designated, 3-credit courses that are designated to fulfill an honors requirement. And we have a capstone requirement, which can be traditional research. You're doing research about something in business. It could also be an international program where you travel abroad, or it could be what we call a practice class, which is a business class where you're actually doing something. You might be working with a client. So we have a course called Practicum in Portfolio Management, where finance students actually manage a portfolio. So that is the Pitt Business Honors Program. Now, again, I think that's a nice fit for a business student who wants honors experiences that are business specific. But there are business students who have broad ranging interests, and they might want to take some other honors courses. And that's certainly possible too. What's nice about the Pitt Business Honors is it folds into the university's honors distinction. So what you're doing on the business side also works for that honors distinction. You would then add some additional coursework from outside of the business school to the honors distinction as well. Does that help to clarify, Tawanda?
Absolutely. Thank you, Liz. So my other question is about international programs and international opportunities through the business school. Specifically, the program that's usually after the first semester, +3, or any other international programs. And Sarah, if you want to talk about one of your programs. Liz, if a student says, hey, I really want to go abroad, what can I do? What would you tell them? And Sarah, if you can talk about one of your experiences abroad.
Well, if a student says to me, Liz, I really want to go abroad, I usually say when and where. And we begin to look at, how do you fit this into the planning? We do have a nice program at the end of the first year, and I think that's what Sarah will talk about, where a student can go abroad for 2 weeks and then come back home. And I think 2 weeks is a nice length of time because you get a sense of what it's like to be abroad, but you still have the rest of your summer. So you can work, you could do an internship, you could take a summer class. And I'm really proud of our programs. We offer a wide variety. The length varies. So sometimes the student wants to go for 2 weeks. Sometimes they want to go for an entire semester. Our locations are many. And really, what we talk to students about is, yes, studying abroad is amazing and you learn so much when you travel, but it's not random. We really try to look at the programs and what the student is studying and say, well, what makes sense for you? So we have programs that are focused on supply chain. We have a really cool program in London for accounting students in the summer. So it's not just, hey, get out there, but hey, what is going to add value when you go abroad to the academic program that you're putting together? And now I'll turn things over to Sarah.
Yes, so I actually am one of Liz's advisees. So I went to her and I said, I want to go abroad. And she posed the same 2 questions to me. And she introduced me to +3, which she talked about a little bit. And again, mentioning how do you fit in the credits to dual major, dual degree. This is a great way to start. So you get 3 credits and it's 2 weeks after your freshman year. So I think I left on May 6th and I got home on April 31st or something. So it was a pretty quick turnaround, but I had a week at home to pack and get ready. And then I actually went to Vietnam, and that was an incredible, incredible experience. I don't know if I will ever get to go back, but I got to meet really fascinating people, get to know a really cool culture. We got to crawl through the Cu Chi tunnels. We went on site visits during the week. And I really, really appreciate my experience there. We studied developing nations. So understanding how their government and restrictions that their government may have are affecting business in the country. And so every +3 program you can view on our website will study something different. And that's a really great way to jump right in. And one thing I also wanted to mention was Pitt Business is lucky enough to have our own study abroad office. So it's right in Senate Square. So I remember a few times after class, I would just go right into the study abroad office and check in with them and speak to them about the programs. And so it's really neat that we get to have this one floor in Senate that has all of these resources for us. So Liz, again, started the process, got the ball rolling, and then I was able to go to study abroad and also sort of help to iron out the rest of my plan. And then I did it again through an internship. So like Chris said, students can intern abroad. And then I was able to practice my Spanish because I had a Spanish speaking internship and was able to live with a host family. So like Liz said, there's something for everybody to find, and you just have to really voice what you want, and Pitt Business will work with you to find that.
And Sarah, on that note, thank you for that. Why did you choose Pitt Business? If you can tell the students what made Pitt Business stand out from all the other schools that you were looking at.
Definitely. So I don't think I can start why Pitt Business without why Pitt. I loved Pitt initially because of all the Pitt pride that I saw on campus. And I also love that Pitt is in an urban environment and we have all the perks of being in an urban environment. However, we still have a campus feel. And Pitt is a really big school. We have a ton of great resources that come with that, but it's also really intimate. And especially the business school is smaller as well. And so I think being able to shrink Pitt was really appealing to me. So I lived in Bruce Hall and got to know a lot of business students, and I had the business school, and then I had Pitt and access to all these large clubs. But Pitt Business in particular, I saw a really great opportunity within their majors and the way their program is structured, where you can get a double major, even a triple major. And also I loved that everything was in Senate Square together. I loved the classes we do. My favorite kind of class, which is an experience-based learning class, EBL, which was the advanced analytics class I talked about. Those you can read more into on the website, but you take your knowledge and you apply it. And so I think all of these reasons together just really made Pitt Business stand out to me. I love Pitt. I hail to Pitt, and I will forever and always. So to me, there's no reason not to choose Pitt Business. And yeah, hail to Pitt.
Great. So on that note, this is our time. We thank you for joining all of us. I'd like to thank all of our panelists for answering your questions and giving such wonderful information. And if you didn't get a chance to get your question answered via the YouTube chat, if you scheduled via visit days, you may text your question, or you can email us at pitt.admissions@pitt.edu. In the words of Sarah, hail to Pitt. Thank you for tuning in.